Welcome back to Talk Property to me. I'm Aaron Downie.
My name is Brad East, and today what we're going to be doing is a 2024 wrap-up. So we're going to be talking about what each city, major capital city plus major regional centres did over the last 12 months, and then a bit of a wrap-up on finance for the year as well. So we've also got, we're going to be running a offer or a bit of a giveaway at the moment too. So
feeling generous for Christmas.
Yeah, why not? So it's a $250 gift card for anyone that goes onto our Instagram page, which is Talk Property to Me podcast. Is the link for that. If you follow the page, like the post and tag a friend, you go into the draw to get a $250 gift card, and we'll draw that at the end of January 2025.
Yep, handed away in early New Year.
Yep, good way to start the year. So we'll get straight into it. What are we starting with?
Go with the finance.
Yep. So start with the boring shit, which is the finance stuff. But as a bit of a wrap up, the interest rate hasn't changed since November 2023. So that was quite a non-eventful year for that.
Well, and just to touch on that, I don't want to sort of cross over here, but the monetary or the cash rate didn't change. So 4.3%, it stayed the same all year. And some of the top, some areas in Perth grew by up to 30%. So
with no change.
Yeah, with no change to interest rates.
So the big factors for this year are interest rates stayed the same, but inflation has gone down.
Yeah,
has gone down substantially.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that is still driving inflation in Australia is government spending. So that has prompted a recent change for the RBA, which is going to go live on the 1st of March 2025. Is they're going to split the RBA board. So you're going to have one that looks after monetary, so household spending, and one that looks after government. So that's going to really give the RBA, well, the two boards, a lot more to work with as far as policy goes.
Yeah, so, trying to work together.
So instead of punishing homeowners every time the government spends too much money and drives inflation, they'll be able to actually go back to the government and say, hey, maybe it's not a good idea spending $50 billion on stupid shit.
Yeah.
So that's a big change. I don't expect that to have any immediate effect to interest rates.
Yeah.
I think the first 12 months of that setup is just going to be information gathering.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's basically the wrap up for 2025. Interest rates stayed the same. Inflation went down. They've split the RBA board.
Well, I think it's important that one, the cash rate stayed the same, but the banks took their own initiative and just adopted some variable rate changes.
Yeah, fixed rates are starting to drop. They're well into the 5.5% now, fixed rates. Personal opinion, you're locking in at the top of a market. Never a great idea in my opinion. I would be looking at the variables. Some lenders have dropped their variable rates below 6% now too, which at the start of the year.
Keep an offset.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend locking in a fixed rate unless you think that rate's never going to get lower than that rate.
Yeah, which is unlikely now. What's a fixed rate at the moment?
5.5%. Yeah, it's not worth it in my opinion. I think we'll get close to that 5.8% or 5.5% by the end of next year or the year after. So banks are not, big takeaway, banks are not in the business of doing you a favour. If they're locking you in at 5.5%, they think it's going to go well below that.
And I just highlighted at the start, interest rates haven't changed all year, and we've seen, Perth grow by 30%. So it does have an impact on the market, certainly, more on a national level than like city specific level. But we'll go into the home value indexes now and talk about specific regions in each state that did really well. So the annual change for Sydney was very average growth of 3.3%, compared to Melbourne, 2.3% minus. Brisbane grew by 12.1% overall, which is great growth, especially with the interest rate and economic environment that we've been in. Adelaide's done really well, 14%, Perth 21% total growth, Hobart minus 1%, Darwin 0.9%, and Canberra minus 0.1%.
So when you look at those figures, it looks like the capital cities that were, I guess if you want to call it more affordable than the others, did well.
Affordability's been big.
Correct.
And we've seen this, we can see the exact thing for units. Units have done a lot better than houses because of that affordability issue as well.
Yeah, and you look at that, it's a sliding scale. The most affordable city in Australia for house prices is Perth, and that had 26 21% growth. Adelaide, second most affordable at 14, and then Brisbane at 12.1. It's literally a sliding scale.
Yeah, exactly. And same can be said for the actual regions that grew most. So New South Wales, Tweed Valley was up 11.2%, and that's of a median value of $1 million. Regional Victoria, so Shepparton did 6.3, Townsville in regional Queensland did 27.1. There's some big ones in there actually. Mackay and Gladstone, they're up at 20 and 26% as well. Regional South Australia, the York Peninsula and Murray. So we actually mentioned Barossa in an episode about 6 months ago, and it did 13% growth this year.
Yeah, so it's gone up really well.
Yeah. Regional WA, Midwest and Bunbury, they're up 21 and 24.5%. Regional Tassie, so Burnie, the top performer there of 7.8%, and Launceston to follow at 4%. They are the regional areas, but then we've got the cities. So we mentioned there, Greater Sydney or Sydney overall, it only did 3.3% this year, but we've got these top 10 suburbs here. St Mary's and Fairfield did 12% each.
Yeah, so it's some of the less performing suburbs that are bringing the overall average down quite a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing. There'll be some suburbs in there that did minus 3%.
Your Zetlands and your oversupplied apartment sort of suburbs.
100%. So over Greater Melbourne for the cities, it's really average growth. So the top 10, the bottom 5 did negative growth, and they were the top performers. So really average growth for Greater Melbourne cities, 0.7% for the top performer. Brisbane, the top performer there was Springwood of 17%. Adelaide, Playford and Salisbury of 19% each. Greater Perth, so Swan, did 26%.
So if you look at that at Greater Brisbane, that's the Logan and Ipswich areas.
Yeah.
That are really firing, and some north, but mostly
Ipswich and Logan.
Yeah. Yeah, which is Logan historically was your lower socio-economic sort of area.
Yeah. And same can be said with like Perth. The top 3 there are northeast, and they all did more than 25%.
Yeah. How sustainable that's going to be, we don't know. That's another episode.
That's another episode. But yeah, that's overall. So I think the big key takeaways for this is the cash rate didn't change. Banks have taken some initiative and adopted their own changes to interest rates. But overall, it hasn't really affected the market. No. We've seen pretty standard growth for the more expensive suburbs, some outstanding growth for the more affordable suburbs. But even for Sydney, in that more expensive region, you've still got some suburbs that are doing more than 10% growth.
Yeah.
So overall, it's not just that interest rate environment that affects the property market. So,
and as affordability gets better next year, those prices will rise even further.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially in those cities that didn't do quite well in arguably the worst economic time since the 90s.
Yeah, 100%. It's actually good to see an area that we spoke about 6 months ago did 13% this year.
Yeah, and Maitland.
So
Maitland was on there as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
There you go.
So hot tip for next year: listen to us. So
that's actually going to be on topic for the next episode. We're going to do
our predictions.
So this is for 2025.
This is the final episode that you'll hear for 2024, and next year we're going to kick off with, I think it's season 3. So we'll kick fresh season 3, and the first episode is going to be our predictions for 2025. We've got a couple of things right this year, so you may listen to us. I got every single RBA prediction wrong, so don't listen to me. But
the RBA don't know what they're doing.
RBA got it wrong as well. So if they don't know, then I don't know. Like always, if there's any comments or anything you want us to talk about, throw it in the comments. We really want to grow our amount of subscribers too. So if you're not currently a subscriber, click the subscribe button. That way you get notified every time we post a new video or a new episode, and share it with your friends and family.
Yeah, but the $250 giveaway, follow, like, and tag a friend.
Yeah, we'll do a post on there. We'll do a post on
sure.
the Instagram with the instructions
Yeah.
On what to do. And just add your comment and your like and everything to that actual post, which we'll put up today.
Done.
Thanks, guys. Have a good New Year.
Prediction. Happy New Year.